The format of the presentation today will be about 10 minutes of my giving an overview of what the product's capabilities are. Then Brian is going to do a demonstration of the product, and depending on your questions, we will make that as in-depth as you all want to see. And then the third step of the presentation today will be to take those of you that are interested in doing a proof of concept of SnapStream at your school and walking you through the survey, a proof of concept survey that will allow us to ship SnapStream test equipment out to your site. And we've got a simple survey that you can take with about 5 or 6 questions on it that allows us to move forward with that process. So just by a show of hands, so I have a feel. Oh, you know what? We'll save that for the end because you may not. I was going to ask how many of you want to do a proof of concept, but I'll ask that question as we get into it a little bit later. So, all right, enough ground rules. Let's get started. SnapStream is as I said, a product for recording television and distributing television and morning announcements around your school district. So. A little bit about our company. We are a team of about 30 people. We're located in Houston, Texas. And for the last 10 plus years, we've been known for our TV technology for businesses or for large organizations. And in the last 12 months, we have shifted our focus to K through 12, and that's the product we're going to show to you today. We have a number of K through 12 customers as K through 12 organizations as customers today. Goose Creek Independent School District is one of them. St. John's School is another one of them, and there are probably a dozen more of those. And really, this year will be our first full cycle of going through the purchase cycle, because of course K through 12 purchases tend to coincide with installs over the summer. So we've done dozens of installs at this point. So it's probably the fastest growing part of our business. So to provide some broader context for what we do at SnapStream, why is it that video, morning announcements, or television are important in the classroom? Well, it's important because as a culture we're moving to more visual communication. So if Mark Zuckerberg in an earnings call, now it's been almost 2 years, he made this comment. He said, if you look at the arc of Facebook, it started out as all text messages, which is what Facebook was when it started out. What's your status? I'm eating a sandwich or whatever. And then, it shifted from that to being photos, and of course, still images. Facebook is the largest photo sharing site in the world, and now that arc has moved further along to video. And Facebook actively favors video because the engagement numbers are higher, and as a culture, we've moved towards this, and that's what SnapStream capitalizes on in K through 12. So why classroom? So there are a lot of opportunities where teachers can meld their curriculums with video. So you can grab relevant snippets from Discovery or National Geographic, History Channel, Biography Channel, and those can be married to what the teachers are trying to instruct on. Some schools, and I think in this day and age probably an increasing number of schools, are introducing or have media studies classes, where you're actually studying the media and what is fake news, and how do you determine the source of a piece of information and determine whether it's reliable or not. And Snap can be a great aid for this. We're already extremely popular in journalism's programs and political science programs on university college campuses, and this really a rising trend in K through 12. And then finally, foreign language instruction. And this one may be a little counterintuitive. Some people we talk about foreign language instruction with and they say, well, what does that mean? How can you use TV for foreign language instruction? Well, we have K through 12 customers who use SnapStream in their Spanish and language programs. They'll record, say, news broadcasts on Canal Plus, which is a French news program, and then have students watch those programs to gain a greater level of fluency. So a lot of applications for TV in the classroom. And so how do schools do in the classroom today? You know, it varies. And, you know, here are some of the things that we see when we go into schools. You know, when I was a kid in school 30 years ago, we'd had TVs on carts, and you would kind of borrow a TV for your classroom. Some schools have cable delivered to every classroom along with some sort of a TV tuner display, like a traditional television or something else that displays that cable TV. And in some cases, organizations have IPTV appliances. And the problem with all these products is they're generally hard to use. They require a context switch. They're labor intensive. The cable drops can be expensive, and all of this ultimately means that there's wasted instructional time, or teachers just aren't using these technologies to bring TV into the classroom. They don't make it easy. So before I go on, I've got a poll question, and I'll share the results of the poll back with all of you. So the question is, let's see here, how do you do TV to the classroom today in your school, or if you have anything in place? So do you use an appliance? Do you use coax cable? Do you do something else, or do you have no existing solution? We'll give a second for all of you to vote. Okay, I'm going to give it another second and see if we have any other replies here. Okay, let me close the poll and I'll share the results. So interesting, you know, 30% of you have coax cable, 60% have no existing solution, and 10% fall in the other category. So, you know, I'm not entirely surprised to see these results. You know, one thing we've seen is that the cable in the classroom programs that used to be available for free are harder to get now, or are no longer there. The cable companies' relationships with the schools has changed. So we do see often schools that don't have any kind of existing TV solution in place. So so not entirely surprising. So how does SnapStream work? SnapStream is an appliance that lives in your data center. You can plug any of your TV sources into SnapStream. So it might be cable TV, it might be morning announcements, a camera like an HDMI camera. It might be student / teacher produced programs, something like an MP4 file that was created on an iPad, and you upload that. It might be a DVD player, but you plug your video source into SnapStream, and it will multicast it or unicast it depending on how you want to set it up. And schools can watch any of those programs live, and there's a whole access control model that integrates with Active Directory that allows you to give permissions to different schools and different students and different teachers to do different things in the system. You could have some channels show up at some schools and other channels show up at other schools. So in very broad terms, it's an appliance. SnapStream is an appliance that lives at your premises. It gets put at the central data center of your district, or in the hub closet of each of your schools, depending on how you want to architect it. It takes in all your video feeds and then presents them out to your schools in a simple program guide interface. And that simplicity is very key. We make a lot of effort to make our product easy to use. So we end up being the technology that teachers will actually use, as opposed to something that you deploy and doesn't actually get used. So actually, before I go on, I want to get a feel for what TV source do you have at your school district? Is it satellite, cable, cable DTA, digital cable, meaning a full HD set-top box? Do you have an over-the-air antenna, or you just don't have any existing TV source? Okay, I'll share the poll results back out with everybody. So about 40% have no TV source, and then a little more than 50% have cable, with a 40-60 split between cable DTAs and digital cable set-top boxes. So that's great. Okay. Good. All right, so back to the presentation. Easy to use. You can distribute live and recorded TV. Brian will show this to you when he goes and takes us all through the demo. If you're doing multicast and it's live TV, then the video is delivered via multicast and played back inside a VLC player, because that's the multicast player. We also make a SnapStream TV Set-Top Box, which we'll touch on, but that can connect to a flat screen TV in your school, and then from that TV you can watch live or recorded television also. SnapStream is also, it's all HTML5, the player, and so we tested extensively on PCs, Macs, Firefox, Chrome, Safari. We tested on the iPad, on the iPhone. We even work on Chromebooks and do pretty extensive testing there. So I don't think there's a product that has kind of broader, client support than we do. So I'm curious to know, what client devices do you have in your school, and pick all that apply here. So the question is, again, what client devices do you have in your school? Okay, let's share the results out here. And as we, it's funny, we did this webinar once, and everything came back at 100%, or practically everything came back at 100%. The reality is, and I think everyone here would agree, the reality is that you all work in very multi-client environments where you have everything under the roof. The answer is yes. You have PCs, you have Macs, you've got iPads, you've got Chromebooks. That's sort of the reality on the ground in K-12 schools today. And the good news is SnapStream supports all those devices. So back to the presentation. We make it really easy to clip and share bits of TV that you find on SnapStream, and then you can download those clips into whatever LMS you might be using, like a learning management system like Haiku or Blackboard. Pull it into PowerPoint, put it into your Google Slides, because everything is an MP4. Morning announcements is a really easy process. We make it really easy for schools to go from their TriCaster or from any other simple video camera in a studio to distributing that live to all of their teachers and their students. As I mentioned, you can also upload videos, and then we make this SnapStream TV Set-Top Box that is a standalone device. I don't think we're going to demo it today, but you'll get an idea of how it works anyways. But it's a really simple but powerful device to get. It's essentially a consumption device for all the TVs in your school. And this is a $200 device, so it's kind of an inexpensive way to extend the SnapStream experience and in a very seamless way to all the flat panel TVs in your organization. These are just some screenshots of what the interface looks like. We don't have a photo of the remote control here, but it's a really simple, remote control. The set-top box does wired gigabit internet or network access, or and I should say 802.11 AC. So a lot of schools have wireless, and in every classroom that's a very common thing, and this sort of fits in pretty well in that kind of environment. So I want to hand it over to Brian now to do a product demonstration. For those of you who've been late, I'll just repeat one thing, which is after Brian's done with his demo, we are going to go through, and I'll give you like a little preview of it here, but we're going to go through and I'll send this link out to everybody. We're going to go to a proof of concept little survey. It's a short 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions that include, a couple of those are just contacts and your shipping information. That if you're interested in doing a proof of concept, you just fill out this survey while you're on the phone with us. We can answer any questions you have. We'd basically be ready to send you SnapStream Edu for you to try out for 30 to 60 days. So that's coming up. Before that, I'm going to hand it over to Brian to do a demo of the product. We're just getting it here.
Good morning, everyone. So we're going to go ahead and go here through a demo of the SnapStream interface. And the first thing I want to point out is just to come up with an end destination for end users to get to our portal. As you can see here, we're demoing off of an in-house server called Snap Edu. Yours could be called District TV or whatever is applicable. So once they get to this location, the main areas that the end user is going to access is first of all the guide. This is a program guide, very similar to what you'd be familiar with at your own residence. It's a grid-like setup and has a couple of different functionalities. Number one is, as you can see, with the red icons indicating in several of the channels, the ability to record content. That can be done either episodically, particular programming, or 24/7 across an entire channel. Like Rakesh mentioned earlier, on the side of the equation, consumption of live content is going to happen by playback through VLC player. So you'll simply right-click into whatever box of your choosing, click Watch Live TV, and this is going to populate and play back in VLC. Maybe. Give me 1 second here. We can move on to the library for right now. Let me try this one more time. Yeah, so it appears that I'll come back to it in just a moment here. So if we look at the other options, We've got the ability to, as I said, record episodically or record everything on this channel. Down at the bottom, you see the channel guide. We've entered a custom feed, channel 7777 for Ryan's morning announcements. And so you can feed a mixture of traditional broadcast TV as well as your own in-house content in a live or recorded fashion. When you come over to the library, that's where all the recorded content is going to reside. So you're building up an archive from scratch. We've got hundreds of hours of recorded programming, and I can come in here to this What on Earth program, and it's going to play back in its entirety from start to finish. You notice the on-demand setup is playing back through our internal web player, and I can jump around within this program however I want to get to points within it. Also, you notice there is the associated closed captioning of that program over here on the right-hand side, and it's highlighting in correspondence with what's being said the text-based aspect of the show. So, in a sense, in addition to the IPTV distribution side of SnapStream, there's the functionality to make TV searchable. So if a science teacher comes in and wants to do a search of climate change, I can quickly do that search, and I jump in and get exactly what it is that I'm looking for. And it's going to take me right into the point in time where climate change is mentioned, and then I can take that and extract that content out, either using the closed captioning or my scrubbing tools over here. I can tag this as science, climate change, etc. Save it to a particular folder, and even share it out via SnapStream Cloud Share to students or anyone else outside of the SnapStream ecosystem. So this is a nice way to find that needle in the haystack moment within the library, in addition to being able to watch stuff just on demand from start to finish. You also notice in the library that there's the upload functionality. So I could come in and upload content and also direct it to a particular folder, whether it's by campus or department or even individual teachers or students could have their own folders set up. Think of this as a large digital repository for dropping content. You can also tag things. As you see over here, we've got folders and tags. So if someone were to come in and do a search for something specific, like climate change or Donald Trump or bull or whatever it is, they could do a search and they would be able to get to anything that was tagged with those specific terms very easily. We took a look at how you can search within a particular show or archive as a whole for things. From a PR and a communications standpoint, you can also set up automated alerts. So I guess my EDU alert, have it go to whoever, and with whatever frequency, let's just say it's 8 a.m. each morning to come into my office, I want to be notified about, hurricanes and whatever it is. Information will be compiled, any content that's being recorded and those terms are picked up on, it'll send me compilation in the email, very similar to what I see over here in the library, but with any clips that are relevant to my needs. So if you wanted to set up alerts, with anything associated with your school system, It's a very easy way to be notified of things in near real time. Over in the admin section, a couple points that I want to touch on. Number one is workflow. This is exactly as it sounds, a flow that can automate a number of different things. So whenever a recording is finished, or let's say that a teacher creates a clip and they want to transcode that to a different file format from the way it's originally recorded, they could do so. They could also set it up to automatically export to a separate destination. Content can be deleted after a certain period of time. It's not entirely necessary. We do operate on a first in, first out basis as far as content that lives on the server, and any particular files can be locked so that they're never deleted, even when the system naturally purges things. Also in the admin section is the security settings. We have integration with Active Directory. And so you could easily set up your permission groups and user access with the end users using their essentials that they're already familiar with. And then you can map those over to subgroups with SnapStream. So if we get administrators here, typically administrators are going to have the most robust set of functionality. You might have everything or close to everything turned on that SnapStream is capable of. But let's say I didn't want them to be able to, create clips or whatever. I could just turn that on or off. Likewise, if I come over to the groups and we look at live TV viewers, this is probably a lower level of authority within the organization. So you can see that the majority of these options are disabled. And taking a look at the admin setup, I've got 7 different sections up here, from alerts to scheduling, YouTube, etc. I could log out and log back in as a lower level user, so to speak, and you can now see that it's stripped down the interface that I have access to. So when I come into the guide and I go in, it only gives me the watch live TV option. All the recording capabilities have been disabled because perhaps that's being managed at a central level. There we go. I've gotten VLC here. So when you click in, this is playing back very much like it is in the on-demand setup. It's going to pop up the VLC player and it's going to play back seamlessly, versus the content in the library is going to play back in SnapStream's internal web player. So that's a pretty comprehensive, higher-level overview of the SnapStream interface. I often get asked, so, for the size of my organization, what do you recommend as far as what we need to have in place? And the answer to that is there's not really a cookie-cutter answer to EDU entities. They all have slightly different use cases and prioritized focuses. So that is, I would certainly encourage us to have a conversation off to the side in a one-on-one fashion about what might be the best setup for your particular organization. Because like I said, it's not really a one-size-fits-all setup. And in some cases, things like the search capability, that might be a secondary, tertiary use case that will be scalable and will be heavily utilized later on after everything is deployed and just the initial functionality is embedded within the organization. So with that, back over to Rakesh, and we'll conclude with some additional thoughts here.
All right, great. Thanks, Brian. So, yeah, like Brian said, there are really a lot of different ways in which the product can be configured. That's a good time, actually. This is a good time to put the pricing. Also, I want to invite everyone to ask questions. So let's take a moment and see if there are any questions. So one question that came in is, if I just want to use this for morning announcements, is that something that I can do? And the answer is yeah, absolutely. In fact, we often see schools want to use this for morning announcements. And also, if you want to later grow into adding television into the solution, you can. And the opposite is true. You can start with broadcast TV, and then you can add on the morning announcements piece. So actually, it's a good place to ask this question. What's important to you in a TV/video distribution solution? Is it morning announcements? Is it broadcast TV? Is it everything? I can see results as they come through, and the first person that responded was must have checked everything. So. But yeah, so just go through and you can check the boxes on what may be of importance to you in a solution like this. And if there isn't something on this list, just type it into the chat window, and I'll get a look at it, and I'll mention it when I share the results out. Wait, let the rest of the audience vote here. And I'm going to go through the pricing here right after this. So let's let everyone finish voting. Okay, to share the results back out, let me actually share them. So 71% of you are morning announcements is a focus, and then about half of the audience is focused on broadcast television, as well as in-house creative videos. A handful of you want to share DVD players on your network. So all those things are very doable with SnapStream. So let's go out and look at pricing. So the idea behind, let me pull up a diagram here on our website first, so you understand the overall, like, how this all fits together and how it works. So if you go from the front page on our website to K through 12, in here you'll see a nice little simple video about how SnapStream Edu works, and this diagram shows kind of a more detailed diagram of how the pieces fit together. You connect your inputs into the SnapStream encoder, and the SnapStream encoder is connected over the network to your SnapStream Edu server. And that's where the program guide gets built, that has the web interface that users will connect to. And so now to go back to the pricing, the encoders, there's a 4-channel encoder, and there are 2 versions of that. There's one that takes in that's getting into technical stuff, but it takes in component or HDMI, so you could hook a set-top box directly up to that SnapStream Edu encoder, and you would need a set-top box for each input. So this unit, $3,600, gets you 4 TV channel inputs. The single channel input is kind of it's a good product for morning announcements, for example, per school. Currently, this product is $2,850, but in May we'll be releasing a new version of this that will be around the $1,500 price point. So for like a single school where you want to do morning announcements, that product, single channel, will be about $1,500, and then you pair that with a SnapStream Edu school or district, and the school is essentially can support 400 concurrent playback sessions, as opposed to district can support 4,000 concurrent playback sessions. And there are other differences. the district is more server class. It's less expensive. But you know, if you wanted 4,000 hours of storage district, you would get one of these EDU district units, and it can support a pretty high number of the channels. So if you were doing 40 channels being distributed across your district, so you're buying 10 encoders plus one SnapStream Edu district. Or if you just wanted to distribute 4 channels of TV, you would get, or say 3 channels of TV and one district-wide morning announcements feed, you'd get one SnapStream Edu encoder plus the 4 terabyte EDU district. It's important to note that the 4,000 concurrent playback only applies for DVR playback, things that are recorded. If you're multicasting, the benefit of multicasting is you're really not using up extra network bandwidth. You could have 10,000 people watching a multicast stream across your local area network. So anyway, this will walk you through all the options. We've got this TV set-top box here for $200. So that gives you an idea of the pricing. So looks like there's some additional questions here. Yeah, no. So we'll actually, what I want to do now is, by a show of hands, there's a little hands icon in your GoToWebinar interface. By a show of hands, who's interested in doing a proof of concept of SnapStream at their school? So it's no cost to you. We come out and install it. You try it out for 30 to 60 days, and we walk through. We basically get you all. You can see exactly how it works in your environment and what the feedback is from teachers. So by a show of hands, if you click the button, that'll give us an idea. So, okay, that's great. So for those of you who have that interest, let's go back to the presentation here, and I'll send this link to you so you can click it in the chat. I want you to go to this link, which is snapstream.com/POC/proof of concept. Look in your chat window. That link is in your chat window as well. All right. So click that link, and I'm going to click it as well, and I'll walk you through the information that we need for a proof of concept. Okay? So continuing on here, if you have the survey pulled up, I'm going to zoom in here so we can see it better. Okay, so give us your information, your name, school name, email address, and phone number. And if there's a different contact for the proof of concept at your school, the person that'll be kind of overall manager of evaluation, that's number 2. So who is the main contact for your proof of concept? And that might be you. And if it's you, just leave it blank. So and if you have questions as I go through this, please ask those questions in the quick Q&A thing, or in the chat window. So who's your contact? Number 3, who is the contact at your school for, or your district for, networking? We often find that one of the challenges is getting your network, especially for multicast setups, making sure your network is configured correctly. But in general, even apart from multicast, getting things set up so that your bandwidth is sort of managed well usually requires some involvement by your networking contact. So hopefully that's clear. You may be the networking contact, but normally we see the application folks or general IT folks. Amongst them, there's one person who's responsible for the network. So number 4, what is your shipping address? We'll ship the SnapStream encoder, a SnapStream server out to your location. And if you want to test out the SnapStream TV Set-Top Box, we'll include that as well. So just where does it go? Is it a is it just maybe the front office of your the building that you're in right now? It might be a special place where you have packages shipped. So that's number 5. We need to know the make and model and provider of your set-top box. So if you have Comcast, and you have an Xfinity X1 set-top box, then what's the make and model on that set-top box? If you go look on the back panel, you'll see the information there. And then finally, if you're going to be connecting a camera of some sort or some other piece of software or hardware as the source for morning announcements that we would be multicasting, what's the make and model of the camera you'd be connecting? So that's the last question there. And once you do that, you click done, and we will receive that, and we'll get the proof of concept system put together on our side, and get it shipped out to you, and then start coordinating with you, to set up the actual proof of concept. Your contact on this side would be Brian Whiteman, who you heard from a moment ago, as well as Eric Cohn. Eric Cohn does all of our customer trainings. He's the head of customer success at SnapStream, and he'll also get you connected to any support resources that you need to be connected to. So, are there any questions about getting your proof of concept started, or just about the product in general, about its capabilities, etc.? So with that, please fill out the survey, download the handouts if you'd like to have a copy of that, and then I have one more poll question to ask you, which is how soon are you looking to purchase something like SnapStream? Are you looking to purchase something immediately? You don't have a timeline? Is this something you're looking at purchasing for the 2017-18 school year, which means probably purchase in May and deployment in June, July? Give us an idea of what your timeline might be here. All right. Well, that's great, and we appreciate everybody participating in the call today. We'll stick around for a few minutes here at the end to answer any other questions that you might have, and we appreciate you all joining us. Thanks so much.